Ready? Here we go. Well, hello, everyone. I hate to tell you, it's Monday. I hate Mondays. But today it's not so bad because look at all you. Hello. Some of you from the trial, I see. So nice to see you here. Thanks for the otters, Kim. Always need otters, especially on Mondays. Like otters are life. That and coffee. Well, here we go. Hey, Turtle Moves. How you doing? And Tony and Charlie and Kim and Beck and Michelle and Anna and everybody else coming in. Like, hello, hello, hello. We're getting back to the swing of things this week after all of that Murdaugh. This is going to be a Murdaugh-free zone for at least an hour. How about that? Except for that. Did you guys watch the jury interviews lately? Also, just a little channel announcement. This week, my friend Mandy and I are going to do a stream on the two sides of the murder trial coin, because there are people that think this was not a fair deal. And so we're going to show both sides of it, and we're going to show you how it can be done. Friends with absolutely total opposing opinions about the whole thing, who actually know all the evidence and look at everything, and we look at it differently. And it's possible, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it this week, probably Wednesday. Hey, Mipit. Hey, Skits Crasher. Welcome to see you guys. I'm hoping everybody's doing good. It sounds like people are doing good today. I do hope everybody had, even though it's Monday, you can call it Second Sunday. That's what I do. And if you've been on Twitter, that's what I did all day. I just called it Second Sunday. I refuse to commit to Mondays. I'm a holdout. Welcome, April. All right. So let's get down to it. If you saw the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about, well, one of the worst cases out there that I'm following, Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell. And the big news with all of that is the judge, Stephen Boyce, has finally severed those cases. He relented, finally, because there was new DNA evidence, apparently. Who knew, right? There's a piece of DNA evidence, apparently a hair. Yes, a hair divided the cases finally. A hair, just a hair. And the DNA the testing has not been done. So Chad Daybell's lawyer, again, good lawyer that he is, for like the fourth time, came forward with a request to sever the cases because they don't have enough time to look at the DNA evidence, to have it tested themselves, to formulate a plan around it. And he's right. And the judge relented finally. And he said, since Chad Daybell was willing to set aside his right to a speedy trial in order to have the delay. It was only fair to not have him come for the April 3rd trial date, which Lori Vallow still will be, and let Chad Daybell and his attorney reschedule that with the court at a later date. It will probably be estimated 6 months out, at least. So it'll be different. It's going to be longer, much longer. Lori Daybell, however, refuses to give up her right to a speedy trial. Remember, we talked about her right before the Murdaugh trial, that, or was it during the Murdaugh trial? One of those days that she actually petitioned the court that she didn't get a speedy trial, so she wants the whole thing tossed. Well, I can tell you that formally the judge has denied that. Denied, denied, denied. And for good reason. She had 2 competencies. She was scheduled. There was COVID going on. There was all kinds of things going on. They actually did not do her formal arraignment for the second time. What was that, November? They're not that far behind. She has not really lost that much. She's had plenty of time to appeal. Okay. She was going to be sitting there anyway. She also tried to get a tete-a-tete with Chad Daybell and his lawyer to strategize, saying, well, perhaps they were working on a deal, but the prosecution didn't recall offering them a deal. So how could that be? That got denied too, by the way. They were not allowed to confer with their lawyers together unless the district attorney was there, unless the prosecution's office was there, because they are co-defendants. They're not the same person, not the same party, both being charged separately for their crimes. Although the trial would be held together, they are both accountable for their own crimes. So they can't be meeting together on this, not without the district attorney there. And they can't falsely say that it's for some type of settlement where no one knows about a settlement. Nobody knows about this settlement, especially not the people that are supposed to offer the settlement. I mean, it sounded more like they wanted to get together and work on strategy and things like that, maybe for the case, but they can't do it like that. Nope, they can't. Oh, welcome, book lover, and Jujubee and Mark Caesar. Nice to see you guys, really. Hey, Mippet, good to see you too. And thanks, Beck, getting those people to hit that like button down below. Come on, you know you want to, you know. You know you want to. I don't know why you resist. Don't resist the bear. Just go down there, tickle a like, ring a bell, do those things. Back to Vallow, though. This really kind of gets me. This is not my favorite case. I hope you like my monster theme here I got going on. Anyway, one of the reasons that Lori Vallow's case is so convoluted and such big thing in the news. First of all that stuff would be the Church of Latter-day Saints, all that touch about her beliefs in her really crazy beliefs in that people becoming zombies and that you have to kill them to save their souls, and talking about her children in such a manner. Actually going away to Hawaii to get married while her children were missing. Nobody could find them. And she wouldn't say where they were. She's not very liked out there. You'll find tons of Reddits on her. Not very kind. People just trying to get information, trying to get evidence, trying to get whatever. A lot of the stuff on Lori's side is sealed because of mental health issues and things like that stuff. But she did offer up an alibi. And she said she was talking to a few people and nowhere near where the bodies were found. But it is interesting that now we have a hair, and both sides, the case has been severed. And so it's going to be, whose hair was it? Exactly where was it found? Who does it belong to? What does it actually indicate? All we know is that on April 3rd, we're going to start the trial of Lori Vallow. These are Lori Vallow's relatives, okay? And they are involved in the case, okay? Lori Vallow's brother, Alex Cox, is also implicated in the crime as being complicit. However, he has passed. There is actually Chad Daybell's, Lori Daybell's 5th husband, wife, who's also demised, and Lori Daybell is in conspiracy for that charge. There is Lori Daybell's Lori Daybell Vallow's fourth husband, Charles Vallow, who also died. Okay. He was shot dead by Lori's brother, Alex, who claimed self defense. But Lori also has a conspiracy charge in another state regarding Charles Vallow's death. Her brother, Alex, it is said that they were doing an autopsy, but I believe they decided that that was natural causes. Lori's third husband, Joseph Ryan, died in 2018 as an unknown age from a heart attack. And Lori's sister, Stacy Cox Cope, died in 1998, age 31, cause unknown. She's got a lot of death surrounding her. This woman is like the Grim Reaper. But the most astounding deaths are those of her children, Tylee and JJ, whose bodies were found on Chad Daybell's farm. Chad Daybell, co-defendant and fifth husband, sixth, I don't know. Husband, Chad Daybell, married in Hawaii right before they were arrested and extradited. This is the farm. This is when they were discovering things. These are the blue tarps that they put out as they discover everything. It's part of the excavation, but I wanted to show you some of the land and how they found things in different areas. And the reason I'm showing you this is we don't know where this hair came from. I don't know what part that was on, but you can see that they had multiple sites. One large site that they were excavating, but there was another one a little farther over. They gridded everything out for evidence areas, as you see, but they were digging quite deeply to the excavations. Remember, the children were not found right away. And I know that part is quite distressing to me. I'd rather leave the children up if you don't mind, unless it's going to really unnerve someone. I'd rather focus on the victims while I talk about the nut job that is, yeah, I said nut job, that is Lori Vallow. Okay, she's done everything she can to try to get out of this. She's very convincing. She's very convincing as far as getting people to do what she wants, or rather, she did get the whole thing not to be televised because people were so hateful towards her because she was smiling during the court proceedings. Yes, she was grinning like a maniac during all the court proceedings and smiling for the cameras, focused on the cameras and the media. People were talking about it a lot. The media started picking up on it, very much like another case that we're going to be talking about today, and started talking about everything you could think of in regards to the case. And the judge decided that nope, there won't be cameras in the court. It won't be fair to Lori Vallow. It could be prejudicial, exactly, into how people are thinking about her. And I understand they don't want to taint the jury pool. They don't want to do anything like that. They don't want it out there for her privacy. They don't think she's right in the head. I wonder where they get that. Could be the crazy filings, like, could be the alibi with mostly people that are either complicit to the crime or not here anymore as the alibis. Hello, Wrecker. Nice of you to pop in and say hi. I hope you're having a good day as well as everybody else, even though it is Monday. Because, man, I do not like Monday. I do not. But then again, it's not your Monday, is it, Wrecker? It's Tuesday. So you're the lucky one out of the bunch. It's not Monday anymore for you. You survived your Monday. Hello, Elliot. Welcome. I know it does. Book lover, I agree with you. It breaks my heart. They're young. This kind of thing should not happen. It does. I hate reporting on it. It's a big case. I actually don't normally like to cover anything with children, but I did this one for a friend who was really upset about this, and I did the deep dive on it with her, gathered all the information. She no longer wants to have anything to do with it. It got to be too much, and so I am just going to continue it to justice, so to speak. because legally also it's a mess because they don't want anything to do with each other. The two of them have not spoken or been near each other since the arrest. They have not made bail. They're in separate facilities, and you know, I can just see finger pointing going on. I'm kind of happy that it's separated because, for one, you can't finger point. I mean, they will actually legally finger point and bring each other up and try to make it the other one. Because that's going to be the best thing, is to confuse the whole thing. You know what that goes like, muddy waters when you're talking about to the jury. Just muddy the waters a bit. Say, give out the reasonable doubt that it's the other one, not me. Wasn't me. Got to be him. In this case, they actually have a him or a her to point to directly. Directly point to the other party. Directly point because they both have access to the children, because they both are there for the farm, because they both have plausible motive and reason, and are both acting weird, and they've both been charged with the crime. So, like I said, the bodies were found on Chad Daybell's farm. Okay, there's been rumors that Alex Cox will be indicated in this also, and he's no longer here to defend himself or to get further evidence or confession from, or to give testimony for or against either party. It's a mess. And so legally, it intrigues me, but emotionally, such young lives. I mean, murder's not my favorite thing. Whose is, right? I know that sounds crazy, right? Because I cover serial killers and stuff like that, but they're usually old cases. They're already solved. The justice is already done. And I'm reporting on the absurdities of it, or how they found them, or some unique thing about it, making it a little distant. When it's an active trial like this, it actually, it can kind of move you. You want justice for the victims every time. And not to bring up that hella case that we just went through, but at the end, was that not the point that everyone said, that justice should be served for Maggie Murdaugh and Paul Murdaugh, who lost their lives? Okay, that was the purpose. That's what the prosecution said, all the investigators said, everybody. Justice for the victims, just like we want justice for the victims here for JJ and Tylee. Okay. Now, their grandparents, the Woodcocks, are still quite upset that there is a closed camera court. They want Lori Vallow to actually face the cameras and have all of America and internationally known for what they call the villain monster that she is. That she's wicked, she's evil, and she needs to pay with public humiliation. They really advocated for it. They want that court open. The judge is still saying that Lori Vallow's case will not be televised. We won't have cameras in there. So we'll have to report day by day. They do leave one or two, people go in. They're very careful about what goes out. Okay. But they will actually have some type of reporting that you can do, and I'll keep you up to date as it goes, just like we did with the Masterson case. Because remember, they weren't allowed to have cameras there either. But every other day, we could bring reporting from a couple of days of one of the good reporters who was there being accurate and giving you details, and just bring you up to date. Save you from reading 20,000 articles on it, which there will be. This will be in the news like constantly as it goes on. Hey, Matt, nice to see you. Hey, Sean, nice of you to join us too. Good to see you guys. And Mippet, I'm sorry that Tuesdays are just as bad on the other side of the world. They're just as bad as Mondays, and that's terrible. You got 2 Mondays then. It's awful. So is that like a second Sunday and a third Sunday? I'm not sure. Well, anyway, it's really kind of great. I don't know. I would call it third Sunday if it helps me a bit. Sometimes it helps me to call these second Sunday. I do it all the time. I refuse to give in, like I said, to the Monday. It just doesn't do me well. I woke up in a fairly decent mood. I woke up in a great mood yesterday. I had the best Sunday. And I woke up in a very good mood today too, until I realized it was Monday and stuff started to happen. Monday things like your audio goes bad, your phone battery dies, you go to charge it, and for some reason it won't connect. And then you tell it, hey, You're a damn iPhone. You're not supposed to do this stuff. And surprisingly enough, that actually worked. It started to work. I actually don't think it was because I yelled at it. I think I might have jiggled something or something. I don't know. But it did finally charge. I told it repeatedly that it was Tuesday, so it couldn't mess up anymore. Let's just hope it holds. But anyway. No, Mippet, I refuse. I'm not giving in to that. Not every day with a Y stinks. Hawk. Oh, Hawk Skull. It's like second brekkie, you know? I like second brekkie. You should always have a second brekkie. Uh-huh. I'm with it. Thank you, love, for all the love. That makes my heart sing, Hawk, when you give me all my colorful hearts. Thank you. Missed you, dude. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I know I'm going to get in trouble, Tony, if I keep jiggling things. Things could break. Like, it's a dangerous thing around here. I get it. I get it. But back to the case. I'm having to, she really annoys me. So I'm trying to have a little fun with this because this woman is making me crazy. I mean, I just can only imagine the types of shenanigans we're going to get with this case. So let me just give you some more of the details. The DNA was a hair, okay? And the district judge for that area is Stephen Boyce. Boyce? Boyce. He actually has severed the cases now, and you know that we're not going to have it in their county. It's actually going to be in Ada County. He's going over there with his whole crew to have it over there on April 3rd. Okay. Chad Daybell's defense argued that there wasn't enough time to review the evidence, so they're going to have their trial months and months and months later, as I said before. But the reason that this is really significant is going to be in how the prosecution prepares for the case, because having two trials is like double the workload for the prosecution. They have to put on the same or very similar evidence in two different trials. And it's a tough use of resources. It's a tough use of making sure everything goes through the same. They also said that two separate trials could really give an edge to Chad Daybell's defense because they get to see what happens in Lori's trial and see everything that's going to be presented. And then they get to build their case because months later they get to present their defense. That's kind of going to be a great advantage for Chad Daybell's team, actually. The attorneys are going to get a whole snapshot of the entire case that the state's going to put out there. They're going to have it soup to nuts. Doesn't normally happen. I mean, you get to know the evidence, you get to know the witness list, but you don't get to know what they're thinking and how they're going to do stuff. You don't, but they're going to actually see it live. They're going to see it. Going to all be laid out there for them. Okay. And they're going to get a great education on what that case is against Chad Daybell. They're going to get to see the witnesses. They're going to see how the witnesses' strengths and weaknesses are and the questioning, where they falter, where they don't. I mean, this is like a present. This is like a gift to Chad Daybell's defense. Also, he said that if, they're saying that like if Lori gets convicted of the alleged crimes before Chad, it makes it more likely that Chad's defense will try to place more blame on her because they get to use that. She was guilty. She did it. It's kind of, the DNA evidence is 2 years old. Okay. It's been 2 years since the charges were filed, and all of a sudden we have this DNA evidence. 2 years since the Daybells have been arrested. With all the resources that the state of Idaho has now, it should not have taken this long for the government to produce that hair. So it's definitely problematic. I would imagine there's going to be hearings back and forth about it once the testing comes through, especially if it belongs to either of the charged, either Chad or Lori. Lori's problem right now is she refuses to waive her right to a speedy trial. So she's coming forth with that DNA evidence quite close at hand being tested for April 3rd. They have to have the opportunity to go over it, of course, but they're not going to hold up the trial for it because it's her choice to go forward. She's been deemed competent to stand trial for the second time. They did actually unseal some court documents in regards to the details of the Vallow children's final days. And that is along in one of the articles I'll be linking for you later, actually gives you a good timeline. And every time they unseal something, they add it. Okay. There is a transcript of Lori Daybell's call to Chad Daybell on the day of the children's discovery. Um, Let me see if I can get the snippet of that. Mm. So Lori, on the day that they discovered the bodies, had made a call to an inmate at the Madison County Jail and to Chad Daybell. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. If you do not wish to talk, hang up now. And it said, Lori Daybell then goes, "Hi, babe." And Daybell says, "Hello." She asks, "Are you okay?" And he says, "No, they're searching the property." And Lori says, "The house, right? Now?" And Chad says, "Yes," unintelligibly because not the house. "So Mark means," Lori Daybell's attorney, "will be talking to you." That was Lori's attorney's name at the time. "Okay, what, are they in the house?" "No, they're out in the property," says Chad. Lori says, "Are they seizing stuff again?" Chad says, "They're searching. There's a search warrant, and blank, unintelligible muffling, with the kids." Lori says, "Okay." Chad states, "So yeah, saw you tried to pull up a call, and I'm glad you called." And she says, "Yes." And he says, "So we'll see what transpires." And Lori says, "K." And then Chad says something unintelligible on the tape. And Lori says, "What do you want me to do? Pray?" And Chad says, "What?" And Lori says, "What do you want me to?" And Chad Bell says, "No," talking over Lori, "I'm sorry." Lori starts to laugh. Chad says, "Well," and something unintelligible. Lori says, "Okay, what can I do for you?" Chad says, "I'm," unintelligible word here, "pretty calm. I would call Mark, though. Can you just talk with him?" And Lori asks, "Have you talked with him already?" Chad Daybell, unintelligent word again, possibly as translated to say, "I've tried to call him since, but they're not sure." That's what he said. Lori then says, "So he knows what they're doing." And Chad says, "Yeah, looks like I have a call from somebody else who I need to talk to, honey. I love you so much." Lori says, "Okay, I love you. Should I try to call you later?" Chad Daybell, I don't know. I don't know. You can try. Yeah, I'll answer if I can." Lori says, "Okay." Chad says, "I love you and we'll talk soon." Lori says, "Okay, baby, I love you. Okay, love you, goodbye." Really strange. The house is being searched. The property's being searched. And she's like just so nonchalant about everything. I can't tell if they're in cahoots here or what, but that sounded strange to me, and I definitely want to know what you guys think about it. I'm actually going to drop this here in the chat for y'all to take a peek at, but I'm actually going to be linking it for you too, that little transcript that they have from quite a while ago. It struck me as I was doing research today of the nonchalance and why they may be calling on Lori as if she's some monster type, you know. Remember, the couple was accused of using doomsday beliefs in the plots to kill these children. That it is something to do with their beliefs in the Church of Latter-day Saints and all kinds of stuff. They were last seen a few days before, Ty Lee was last seen a few days before her 17th birthday, and JJ was only 7. Mm, I don't know. Chad Daybell's attorney is John Pryor. He successfully has worked to segregate from Lori Vallow in this. And I hope that, like, when they start to go over the evidence, we're going to see perhaps what transpired or how the crime was committed, you know. But it looks as if this couple who were focused on that doomsday religious beliefs, and they wanted to kill Lori Vallow's two children and Chad Daybell's previous wife as accused, part of a plot to steal Social Security funds for the kids and insurance money on Chad Daybell's wife. That is the accusation that is in the indictments. They started this investigation back in November of 2019, and they only started it because extended family members were reporting that they hadn't seen the children. We're talking about the grandparents and relatives who were asking for the children. And when asked where they were, Lori Vallow would not produce them, nor say where they were. After the investigation on Wallow, during that period, police said the couple lied about the children's whereabouts on multiple occasions, and yet their bodies were finally found buried on Chad Daybell's property in rural Idaho. The couple had married just 2 weeks after Tammy Daybell died unexpectedly, Chad's former wife. Tammy Daybell's death was initially reported as due to natural causes, but investigators had her body exhumed after growing suspicions when Chad Daybell married so quickly. Lori Vallow is also separately charged with the conspiracy to commit murder in Arizona in connection with the death of her previous husband, Charles, in July of 2019. He was shot and killed by Vallow Daybell's brother, Alex Cox, who claimed it was self-defense. Those legal proceedings are going to be held separately. They are on hold currently, waiting the results of the Idaho case. So it does get very, very convoluted. The date that it was severed on was February 23rd, was the date that Judge Boyce put through the order to sever Chad Daybell from the current case number with Lori Vallow. He gets his own case number now. It was listed separately on the Idaho government court documents site for high profile cases, which I put the link in the description for you. So that you can check out the documents if you like to read the orders or the motions or anything like that. There's public access to most of that once it's not sealed, unless it has anything to do with Lori Daybell's mental health situation and all of that. That definitely will not be released. The next thing, well, anyway, if there's any let me just check the chat for any questions on that. I really think that's all I want to talk about her about, to tell you the truth. Okay. Annie says she doesn't sound crazy to me. Sounds like she is trying to make out like she is. I have thought this myself, Anna, that what a way to, start your defense early is just smile for the cameras and act like a loony bird. She did spend some time in a facility. But here's the thing. That can't be her defense. In Idaho, she's not going to get off on the charges for it. It could be extenuating circumstances. They could use it as a reason for something or to help with sentencing. But if she gets declared incompetent, she just goes and waits in the facility until she's competent enough to stand trial. These charges don't go away. No way. Not on that. Not in Idaho. Which is interesting to note for the next case that we go to, too, which is we're going to go into Kohberger as soon as I check the chat. I think Chad was totally in on it. Beck, I'm with you. There's no way it's buried on his property and he didn't know. Did you see the size of the plot? I mean, it's huge. Huge. I agree. Turtle moves. Hey, Michelle, it is awful. Absolutely. Hello, Christopher Mate. How are you? You getting the true crime bug? Like, I don't know. What are you doing? Anyway, welcome. I'm glad you're here. What about Steven Tyler? People are probably going to turn their Aerosmith albums out as one. No. You think so? I'm going to have to look into that, Tony. I don't know what's going on with Steven Tyler. Okay. But on another case here, we want to they finally confirmed that the body of Nathan Milliard was found, and they want, we're going to pray for justice for his family and support that they have found his body. Always grateful. So that's another case. That's not one I'm following, or Kim is, but as always, whenever something like that happens, you need to keep the victims and the victim's family in mind and hope for justice. All right. So are you guys ready to move on to the other Idaho case? I thought I'd limp Idaho together today. I don't have really, Kohberger, besides being such a sensational case, for university students in Idaho, November 13th, in the home that they rented with two other young girls, Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Zina Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, were murdered with a knife believed to be a solid blunt type knife. There was a witness, not to the murders, but of someone exiting the home, all dressed in black, wearing a black mask, quite tall. Dylan Mortensen believes that she may have seen the murderer and described a person as not someone she had seen before. But what we have to report on today, that black mask he was wearing is kind of important, because they have unsealed all of the items that they did in the search on December 30th when Bryan Kohberger at his family's home in Pennsylvania was arrested and then extradited back to Idaho for the charges. I've listed the affidavit down below. We've gone over that before. It involves a lot of cell phone data. It involves the discovery of his vehicle in the general vicinity at the times of the murders and other times, and the cell phone being in location with that vehicle, identifying that vehicle and tracing it back to him explicitly to a college, Washington State, where he's only 10 minutes away from the vicinity of the murders. 10 miles, 10 minutes, something like that. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence in this case also. It was a terribly bloody scene. In our last update, we showed you seepage through the floors coming out of the building itself. That is a bloody scene. They were all stabbed. Three of them believed to be stabbed during their sleep. Perhaps Kaylee was, not Kaylee, but Zana was awake because she got a food delivery just minutes before. The fact that she would be sleeping that quickly is unlikely. Also, neighbor, through their home security system, picked up audible sounds of her dog barking aggressively and also a cry out of a type and a thud. Although it's very weak audio, it kind of appears to be. They're not stating it is, but they say it appears to be, and that is also submitted into evidence. There's a lot of evidence submitted in the affidavit as to how they tracked and how they followed the cell phone, how they triangulated the cell phone data, how they found the vehicle, how they traced it back with different license plates because Bryan Kohberger had his registration needed to be renewed, so he re-registered. That there was a ticket that he received prior, or he was pulled over with his father, and they got his phone number that way, so they were able to actually trace things when they thought he was a suspect, because everything was on file, everything was on record. There has been nothing but a media scouring for every nugget of information you can possibly think of on Bryan Kohberger, to the point of I didn't even know if I wanted to do this case anymore. It is absolutely ridiculous out there. Okay. And Judge Megan Marshall has decided that nope, that's it. When the extradition lawyer is giving press conferences before he's even in Idaho, no, that's got to stop. She clamped down on everyone involved with the case. First, the prosecutors and the defense and the charged and the investigators. She said, no talking from anyone. She then needed to extend it to the victims' families. Anyone related in the house, anybody related to the investigation. She had to include everybody because it was getting crazy out there. There were interviews with Bryan Kohberger's kindergarten class. How that relates, I have no idea. But the sensationalism is going to do nothing but make this case worse. You can't get justice with that kind of stuff going on. I just don't see. Everybody's going to, they have to have a jury. They have to try to get a jury together. How can they avoid this? How can they do of any of this? You know? Mm. I don't see how they can stay unbiased hearing all of this. Um, Already they are so against him because he studied criminal law. He wanted to be a criminologist. He wanted to work in the labs. He wanted to help with the police. He's got a fascination with law and crime. He was a teaching assistant. He was fired from his teaching assistant, as we reported in the last update we did on him. That didn't happen prior to the murders, although him understanding that they were unsatisfied with his work did happen prior, and there may have been some stress there. They may be able to use that. Who knows? But let's talk about some of the things they've unsealed recently from December 30th, things that they found. But before that, again, let's mention the victims one more time because their names need to be known. We need to know why we're looking at it, what we want justice for. We want justice for Ethan Chapin, only 20 years old. Zana Kernodle, 20 years old. Maddie Mogan, 21. Kaylee Gonzalez, 21. Friends, all renting a home with two others. Ethan Chapin was the boyfriend of Zana Kernodle and was staying over. The three girls rented this house in a college town. They're all going to university together with two other women, two other students. Okay. And, it was known to be a place where people came and went. And unfortunately, the treatment of Dylan Mortison, because she actually saw someone and didn't alert the police, but she actually at the time didn't really think it was unusual because they are young. They're in their 20s. They've got people coming all hours of the day and night. They just came from separate parties together. The two girls celebrating at some other facility. Zana and Ethan were at a separate party. They all show up around 2 or 2:30 at the house late at night. And it wasn't unusual for people to be come and go and come back to the house to have a drink, to party. They were young. There were people coming and going all the time. She woke up to noise. She just thought they were waking her up as usual on a weekend or whatever, that kind of attitude. It wasn't that unusual. When she opened the door and she saw him, it kind of struck her as unusual, but not that unusual. She has a lot of regret and doesn't deserve to be tormented the way the town is tormenting this girl. All the media, actually. And there's protection on her also, as there should be. She got to live with this for the rest of her life. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. Yeah. I wouldn't want to be in the shoes to be a survivor in that house with something so gruesome happening. And you've got the what if and why not me. The survivor's guilt is a real thing. And, I'm not going to get into all of the psychological part of it. That's not for me. But I can understand empathetically what she might be going through. And I'm not going to be the one up calling on her why she didn't do what she didn't do. Not one single one of us know what we would do if that was us. You might think you do, but you don't really know. And it's not fair to judge her on our standards. It's not fair. I realize everybody's upset because these young people are gone, but it's not fair to put that on her shoulders because she survived and she saw something. The what ifs are immense. They're going to torture her anyway. It's not going to be so great. Leave her alone. I'm really disgusted with the media about that. I know I said that last time, and I'm going to preach about it every time I'm up here talking about this case. The media is being disgusting. The media is actually suing the court to get the gag order lifted because it's not fair that people need to know all the minute details here. They're already trying Bryan Kohberger in the streets of social media. out in public. They're trying him as guilty with everything that they put out, every little scrap, every little thing that they can find. That's not justice. That's kind of going to interfere with actually justice being served, in my opinion. I know we all want to know about it, but there are limits, okay? And the fact that they are just trying to get the whole thing opened up, they should at least wait until jury is there. They should at least wait until they get farther enough to pretrial hearing. He hasn't even gone to pretrial hearing, which, by the way, is June 26th, where they will actually do his preliminary hearing to see if there's enough evidence to have him go to trial. That hasn't happened yet. He hasn't even pled. He can wait till then to plead. They're also trying to have his defense attorney removed. It's making me crazy. There is a change.org petition on the web right now that is asking to remove the county public defender, Ann Taylor, from representing him. Because she knows the mother. There was of one of the victims, Kara Kernodle, had a previous misdemeanor case and an ongoing felony case. And there were rumors that Ann Taylor actually had represented her. That's not true. She never met her. She was assigned the case, but then it was given to somebody else. Okay. It was a legal expert's opinion that Taylor's role as her Kohberger's attorney would be a conflict of interest and that she should recuse herself. However, a judge didn't think so. The judge assigned her, and the judge is aware of this. Okay. In late January, they've already gone over this. Taylor addressed the concerns that she may have that conflict of interest. She pointed out her name is on all of the documents and the case is represented by her office. They just automatically put her name on it. She never met with the client. She doesn't know the case. She was not the attorney that represented Kernodle in either case. This is absolutely what I'm talking about. The media making this something that it's not. The court showed it, went through it, said it isn't so, proved it, and yet this is still out there because they can't find enough to talk about. It is absolutely crazy. Always, I agree with you, Kim. It makes me crazy what they are what they are doing about these. I know you could probably hear it. I don't usually rant like this, people, but this one really tears me up. It's bad enough the people, the young ones, the young people are gone. It's a horrible case to begin with. It's mostly circumstantial evidence. Remember, it's phone data and a car, and we have a sheath of a knife with some DNA on it, but we don't know from when, what. We don't know. We don't know. We don't have a murder weapon. We have an eyewitness that places someone there at the scene. Okay. What also we have is the items that were removed in Pennsylvania. Some of that is quite interesting, actually. I don't want to get to that. Okay. They found a knife, but we're not sure what kind of knife. Okay. They found a book with some pages marked, some AT&T bills, all kinds of things. But they found dark clothing, a dark hat, black gloves, rubber gloves, a note to his dad from Bryan, a gun, a Smith & Wesson, a Glock, okay, a cell phone, a whole bunch of other things. But what they found that was in the witnesses, now the witness did say it was someone wearing dark clothing and a dark hat and a black face mask. And what they did find at the receipt of the property at 119 Langston Drive, Albertsville in Pennsylvania, the parents' home, wore black masks. Remember, the DNA found on the scene was cross-matched to a family member of the garbage that was tested at Albertsville, Pennsylvania, to be most likely a familiar relation, most likely a male, father parentage. That's how they figured out, narrowed it down to Bryan Kohberger. That little drop of whatever type of DNA they had on that sheet to the garbage. But a black mass. They took a lot of stuff out. They had a laptop, you know, they had a lot of things. There's messages on the laptop. Apparently, it's being circulated that Bryan Kohberger tried to contact one of the young girls, not Zana, but one of the other two. It was either Kylie or Madison that he contacted on Instagram, but she never responded. It was just kind of a reach out thing. If you guys have Instagram, you know that occasionally, you get these blind messages from people like, "Hey, how you doing? Where you live?" Especially if they think you got like this really nice profile picture. I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about. It was like that. She never answered. They don't see anything else. There's reports that he followed them to a restaurant. It's a college town. He's also in college as a teaching assistant in the next college over. The fact that he shows up in a coffee shop that they may be in or a restaurant they may work in, that's not that odd. Like, it's circumstantial at best, and I'm not going to say it doesn't mean anything, but I'm not going to say it does either. Yeah, the towns are so close, and it's college. There's a lot of people in a lot of places. Okay, and usually college students all hang out in the same kind of place. It gets popular with a whole bunch of people at one time. Yep, they were all friends. Christopher, you're right. Mm. Oh, hello, Shill. Nice to see you. Mary Beth, it's nice for you to be here. Mm. Crazy Cats, thank you. And thanks for being here. He says, where you dig these cases up every week. I got a list of 23 of them going, and I'm just trying to catch up. I'll be on 3 times this week. I got to bring you up on Boone and Masterson and Manson. We need to do at least an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours on Manson alone. There's been so much on that case, and I would like to bring it up to date with you with all the stuff that we're getting from the Manson cases and Justice for Marilyn Manson doing excellent jobs documenting everything that's been happening, all the legal documents out there. Definitely got to bring that one too. Well, thanks, Crazy Cats. I'm just checking now. Because that list is so tiny, I'm going to try to make it bigger for the Discord, but it's very small. I also am going to put the article that it came out of. Juju B says, I have avoided the news on this case now, which I hate, but there's too much out there that is just exactly Juju B. It's really frustrating for me. Very, very frustrating. To the fact that a TikToker is actually accusing another college professor of actually planning the whole murder. She had nothing to do with Bryan Kohberger, by the way, although Bryan Kohberger is a TA for another professor, not to do with this one, not to do with even the famous one, okay, that's over there. She's actually accusing this woman, says she had everything to do with it. The woman files a defamation suit against this crazy TikToker lady, okay? The woman does not show up for court, so she gets a judgment against her just because she didn't show up. That can happen. Judge gets annoyed, goes, okay, we're going for this, the default judgment for defamation against so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. She gets so annoyed, she wouldn't answer. She said she didn't have to because she was speaking the truth. So then, you know what she does? She's now suing the woman she's accusing of the murder for defamation of character because she didn't show up in court and got sued. I don't make it up. That's how crazy it is. That's how crazy this whole thing is. All on the fringe of it is nothing but insanity. Absolutely insanity. And Christopher, I'm so glad to hear that you're going to be back. Is it this Sunday? You're going to be back this Sunday. Oh gosh, everybody, we need to go over there. He does the chillest, loveliest cooking and music and talk streams. Absolutely lovely. It could be that he was acting like that, Beck. He's weird. He was, they say that he made women uncomfortable, if you mean Kohberger, why he lost his teaching assistant job. I'm looking at the questions now. I think that They clearly said it was not those complaints, though. All of those complaints were addressed and not found to be anything. They didn't do anything about it. What they did do is they actually addressed the complaint of the professor he worked for himself, because he said that Bryan Kohberger had a thing with authority. He didn't address him properly. He was not performing his duties the way that they should. He wasn't doing. He was laid out again and spoke to about what he should be doing and how he should be addressing everyone. And everything was fine for like a week, and then he had another blow up with the professor and was very unprofessional. And the professor decided that he was going to put another complaint in there. Hello, Commander. Welcome. So that's it. Okay, so I know Mary Beth says, I agree, leave her alone. I believe you're talking about the witness, Dylan Mortensen. I do wholeheartedly. I'm behind you on that one. Jujubee and Kim, I want you both in there. I want to do like a three-way call with the two of you on these cases. Hey, T King, nice to see you here. The replay will be Vallow at first, love. And then we're doing Kohberger now. So as I said, his pretrial is going to be on June 26th. I have a couple of minutes to go over questions. If there's anything you guys want to know in regards to Kohberger, just put it in here. Oh my gosh. It is like there's like really no real evidence besides the cell phone, the witness. I mean, actually having a witness spot someone that could be you, that could be a major problem, actually. That's probably very, very good witness. Very, very good evidence, seriously. I know. That's why I don't watch either. I do not watch the news either, Beck, because it's just too much. It's just too much to me. Okay. Okay, Juju says, is this in regards to this case? I have a reason to think what I think, and I want to tell you all so you can tell me if it is ridiculous or not. She says, I have to explain my logic, though, and give you the real life examples that made me draw the conclusions. That TikToker is suing the professor back. Please tell me, because that is a hella mess. Like, I'm curious. Okay. She didn't respond and then attempts to sue her back. Wild. Yes, I get it. But what are you, which case you're talking about, Kohberger, Jujubee? Because I want to know if you've got a theory on Kohberger. Okay. Or was it the one you were talking about with Kim and it's not for the chat and I just made a mistake? Okay. That was absolutely insane. Shill, this can I get my new body already? I ordered it years ago. As mine is kaput. Girl, I think I'm a few years ahead of you on that list. And I don't know. Last I heard, they're not shipping anymore. I think we're stuck with these. For shame. We're just gonna have to make new. All you get from the news is the everlasting feeling of wanting to hide from the world mixed with the urge to go shopping due to all the ads. True, true. The ads on regular TV now is like incredible, like just phenomenal. All right, all right. So on Kohberger, I think we're caught up. June 26th is going to be the pretrial preliminary hearing where the judge will hear all of the evidence from the prosecution, go over the affidavit of probable cause that was for the warrant that got him arrested, and they're going to go over everything else now that they found. They're still investigating and they're still testing all of the things that they found. They're going over all that stuff that they pulled out of the house on December 30th. They were still doing everything on the home, where the crime scene. But yeah, there's still a lot that we don't know about. And actually, we'll see what the results of that are. They have been doing little snippets of video at his other trials. I don't know if the pretrial is going to be open for camera. It is scheduled to be 4 or 5 days. Hold on one second. Let me double check that. I have it right here. The last page should be the schedule. Oh, it's scheduled to be 5 days. From the 26th to the 30th. I don't know. We'll have to see. With that gag order, I don't know if they're going to allow cameras. It doesn't make any sense to have a gag order and then let cameras in the room, does it? Okay, so let's finish with Jujubee here. Yes, my theory is on why the roommate took so long to call for help. It isn't a theory on the case, but on our bodies and mind instincts to survive. I would like to hear it, Jujubee. Do you want to share it with the chat? Or do you want to tell me later and we can share it at another time? Oh, she's typing, so here we go. Okay. But the theory explains why it took her so long. Could be complete nonsense. It's just my thoughts, and I think it is intriguing enough for a good discussion. You want to have it now? Oh, I got a couple of minutes. Put it in the chat. Let's discuss. Yep. I'm for it because I'm actually for her. I'm actually thinking it's kind of, with everything going on, in a house, parties, people, you don't know who's dating who, how long it lasted, who's doing what, whatever. You stay out of each other's business. You don't only know each other through college. You just met. You're not lifelong friends, although the two that were together were very close. Um, Oh, and you couldn't explain in chats. Okay. I'm here for her too. Okay, why don't you and I get together and discuss that because then we can make for I can do it in a nutshell for you and we can have an open discussion if you want later. That would be great. But I think everyone, that brings me to this as a closing. And thank you, Jujubee, because um you're actually helping me with my closing here because I want to tell you when you have ideas like that, that's what the comment section is for on the back of the videos. The ones that are currently empty most of the time because nobody talks to me about stuff on there. You can talk to me in DMs. I'm all my about pages, everything in the description. You know how to get a hold of me. But if there's something you want to talk about a case, if there's something that you notice, if there's something you think is intriguing, or even if there's other cases you find interesting. It's not guaranteed that I'll cover everything that you bring up. I am a bit picky. I'm a picky bear when it comes to this stuff. I really have to have a hook. I don't like to cover assault, but hey, I covered Masterson. You know why? Statute of limitations. How intriguing was that? 20 years ago. And all the laws have changed. And it was fascinating, you know? And also unconscious consent, sleeping, assault while sleeping. This is a big legal issue. Everybody knows an act without consent is illegal. But there is no legal definition about the unconscious part, the sleeping, especially when it relates to marital beds and relationships. It's very convoluted in the legal system. And that's what fascinated me. I wanted to see how it was going to play out and what would happen because the laws need to change and be firmed up. And I wanted to see what would happen. So precedent set, hopefully. And we're having a retrial on that. That is supposed to be at the end of this month, I believe. Okay. Andrew Tate tried to bribe a Romanian politician. Whoa, Beck, you should be on the back of my video about that. No, not Andrew Tate. He's so law abiding. Ha! Ha! No way. Okay. Thanks, Beck, for dropping that. Beck. Yeah, making me smile, dude. He really thinks he's above it all, doesn't he? I think you're right if you're talking about Andrew Tate. But on that, I'm gonna tell y'all, I've been here for over an hour. I'm going to actually cut this at an hour because we're going to be on several times this week. I hope to see you all again on Wednesday. Wednesdays is going to be late at 10 o'clock at night. If I get everything together on Boone and a couple of others, I could be back tomorrow, but it's most likely going to be Thursday. I don't want to tease you. It's most likely going to be Thursday. And then again, possibly on Friday or Saturday. I don't know which one yet. It depends. That Manson one's going to be huge. And I want to get it all together right. So much had happened. But on that, thank you, Tony. I'll go check that after. Yeah, link in Discord to Tate. Thank you very much, Beck. Thank you. And thank you, book lovers, for being here. Thank you, everyone. It's some names that I see almost all the time with the Murdaugh trial, and some new names too. Thank you all. And like I said, be respectful, have all your different opinions. Let's discuss it. But on that, we're going to have to wait just a day or two and have another one. That one will be on Murdaugh with Mandy on Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for now, I'm going to say goodnight. Don't forget to like, share, and comment the video. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. Make a bear happy. Stroke that bear, ring that bell. I promise I'll be in a good mood. I'll see you all later.